The golden towers of Xerion Prime reached toward the stars like fingers made of light. On this day, the capital world of the Galactic Council buzzed with celebration. Millions of alien beings filled the floating platforms and crystal walkways. Today marked 30,000 years of galactic peace. Prime Council leader Vexstar stood on the highest platform, his blue skin gleaming under the twin suns. His forearms spread wide as he addressed the crowd below. Behind him, holographic displays showed images from across the galaxy. Peaceful worlds, thriving cities, and happy alien families smiled back at the cheering masses. My fellow beings, Vexstar's voice boomed across the planet through translation devices. For 30,000 years, we have lived in harmony. No wars, no conflicts, no chaos. The crowd roared its approval. Zephyrians with their blue skin and multiple arms stood next to tall, graceful ethereals. Short, stocky draconians with their scaled hides mixed freely with dozens of other species. All united under one peaceful government. But in the deep archives beneath the celebration, dusty records told a different story. Ancient files spoke of a species called humans. According to the old data, they had lived on a small blue world called Earth. The record said they were violent and stupid. They fought each other constantly and destroyed their own planet around the year 2000. The files marked them as extinct, a warning to other species about the dangers of war. Far beyond the edge of known space, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship. The vessel moved silently through the void, its hull black as the space around it. Jake was 45 years old, with gray hair and steady blue eyes. Like all humans on the ship, he wore a simple blue uniform with no fancy decorations. Admiral? Called Dr. Lisa Parker from her station. She was younger than Jake, with brown hair tied back and intelligent green eyes. We're approaching the outer systems of what they call the Galactic Council territory. Jake nodded slowly. For 48,000 years, humanity had hidden beyond the galactic rim. They had watched and learned about the aliens who now ruled. The stars, what they discovered had shocked them. These aliens thought humans were dead. Worse, they had written lies about human history. Any signs of patrol ships? Jake asked Captain Ryan Walsh, a tall man with dark skin and careful eyes. Checked his instruments. 3 ships moving in standard patrol patterns. They looked like Zephyrian design, but older models. Jake almost smiled. The alien ships used technology that humans had abandoned thousands of years ago. While the galaxy celebrated its peace, humanity had never stopped growing and learning. They built better ships, developed new weapons, and explored the deep mysteries of space. Commander Brooks, Jake said to a woman with short blonde hair, what do we know about their military? Amy Brooks looked up from her intelligence reports. They haven't fought a real war in 30,000 years, sir. Their weapons are designed for peacekeeping, not actual combat. Most of their ships are barely armed. The bridge fell quiet as everyone thought about this. Humanity had spent 50,000 years preparing for war, even while hoping for peace. These aliens had forgotten how to fight. Sir, Ryan said suddenly, the patrol ships are changing course. They're heading straight for us. Jake felt his heart. Speed up. This was it. After all these years of hiding, humanity was about to make contact with the galaxy again. Open a channel, Jake ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the alien ship. A Zephyrian captain appeared, his blue face confused and suspicious. When he saw Jake, his 4 eyes went wide with shock. Impossible. The alien whispered, "You cannot be human. Humans are extinct." Jake stood straight and proud. "I am Admiral Jake Morrison of the Human Colonial Union. We are very much alive." The alien captain's face went through several colors, from blue to purple, to almost white. The records ... the archives. You died out 50,000 years ago. Your species destroyed itself. Your records are wrong, Jake said calmly. We survived. We grew. We learned. And now we have returned. Other alien faces appeared on screens around the Zephyrian captain. Word was spreading fast through their fleet. Jake could hear them talking in excited, frightened voices. Some called it impossible. Others demanded proof. A few whispered about ancient legends. Dr. Parker stepped forward. Captain, may I ask what your people know about human history? The Zephyrian captain seemed to gather himself. The archives say, you were a violent species. You fought constant wars and poisoned your own world. You were a warning about the dangers of aggression. Lisa's face hardened. Those archives lie. Yes, we had problems. Yes, we made mistakes. But we learned from them. We became better. Jake watched the aliens' faces on the screen. Fear, confusion, and disbelief mixed together. These beings had built their entire civilization on the idea that humans were a failed species. Now that foundation was cracking. Admiral, Ryan whispered, more ships are coming. A lot more. Jake looked at his tactical display. Dozens of alien ships were moving toward their position. The entire sector was mobilizing. Captain, Jake said to the Zephyrian, we did not come here to fight. We came to talk. The alien captain shook his head. I must report this to the council. They will decide what to do with you. The transmission ended. Jake stood alone with his thoughts for a moment. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. These men and women represented the best of humanity. They were smart, brave, and disciplined. They had trained their whole lives for this moment. Sir, Amy said softly, intelligence reports are coming in. The council is calling an emergency meeting. They're treating us as a threat. Jake nodded. He had expected this. The aliens had spent 30,000 years believing humans were extinct. Learning the truth would terrify them. Prepare the other ships, Jake ordered. Send word back to Earth. Tell them we have made contact. As his ship moved deeper into galactic space, Jake thought about the long journey that had brought them here. Humanity had nearly died 50,000 years ago. They had poisoned their world and fought terrible wars. But they had also learned. They had grown. They had become something better. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humanity had become. The aliens thought they knew the human story. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The stars ahead grew brighter as Jake's small fleet moved toward its destiny. Behind them, the vast machinery of human civilization waited and watched. After 50,000 years of exile, humanity was coming home, and the galaxy would never be the same. The great council chamber on Zerion Prime had never seen such chaos. Representatives from 12 different species shouted at each other in dozens of languages. Translation devices struggled to keep up with the angry voices that filled the massive Crystal Dome. Council. Prime Vextar slammed his 4 fists on the speaking platform. The sound echoed through the chamber like thunder. Slowly, the noise died down. Order. Vextar's voice boomed. We will have order in this chamber. The tall, graceful ethereal ambassador, Zaralyn, rose from her seat. Her silver skin seemed to glow with worry. Prime Vextar, the reports cannot be ignored. 3 separate patrol fleets have confirmed contact with beings claiming to be human. Impossible, Vextar said, his blue skin darkening with anger. The humans died 50,000 years ago. These must be imposters. Perhaps the Draconians are playing some sort of trick. Warmaster Krolthuk, the Draconian representative, stood up on his powerful legs. His scaled hide rippled with anger. How dare you accuse us? The Draconian Empire has served this council with honor for 20,000 years. Other representatives began shouting again. Vexstar raised his arms for silence, but the arguing continued. In all his years as Council Prime, he had never seen such panic. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, Dr. Kevin Stone sat in his small research ship, studying the data they had collected. Kevin was a thin man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent his whole life learning about the time before humanity left Earth. "Admiral Morrison," Kevin said into his communication device, "you need to see this." Jake's voice came back through the speaker. "What did you find, Kevin?" "I've been analyzing the alien databases we accessed. Jake, they didn't just get our history wrong. They changed it on purpose." On the screen, Kevin showed Jake ancient alien records. The earliest files told a different story about humans. They spoke of a species that had great artists, brilliant scientists, and noble leaders. But as the years passed, the records changed. The good parts were removed. The bad parts were made worse. "Look at this," Kevin said, pointing to a file dated 10,000 years after humanity's supposed extinction. This document orders all positive human records to be destroyed or altered. It calls humans a dangerous example that might inspire other species to rebel. Jake felt cold anger in his chest. They erased us from history, not just our existence, but our achievements. "It gets worse," Kevin continued. "I found evidence that several alien technologies were stolen from Earth. Their faster-than-light travel, their energy shields, even their medical techniques. They took our inventions and claimed them as their own." The communication channel crackled as other human officers joined the conversation. Captain Ryan Walsh spoke first. "Sir, we're detecting massive fleet movements throughout the sector. They're mobilizing everything they have." Commander Amy Brooks added her report. "Intelligence suggests they're planning to attack us. They want to destroy us before we can tell anyone the truth." Jake stood quietly for a moment, thinking. Around him, the bridge of his ship hummed with quiet activity. His crew waited for his orders, their faces calm but alert. "How many ships are they bringing?" Jake asked. "Current estimates suggest over 500 vessels," Ryan replied. "Capital ships, destroyers, fighter squadrons. It's the largest military force the Council has assembled in 20,000 years." On Zirian Prime, the emergency council session continued. Vexstar stood before a massive holographic display showing the sector where the human ships had been detected. "The threat is clear," Vexstar announced. "These imposters, whoever they are, possess technology that could destabilize the entire galaxy. They must be eliminated before they can spread their lies." Ambassador Zarlin shook her head. "Prime, Vexstar, perhaps we should try to communicate with them. If they really are human survivors, this could be a historic moment." "Historic disaster, you mean?" Vexstar shot back. "The human archives are clear. They were violent, destructive, and unable to control themselves. If any humans survived, they would be even more dangerous now." The draconian war master Kral Thuk stepped forward. "I volunteer to lead the fleet against these imposters. My warriors will make quick work of them." Other representatives nodded in agreement. The fear in the chamber was thick as fog. These aliens had built their entire civilization on the belief that they were better than humans. Now that belief was being challenged. Aboard his ship, Jake made his decision. He activated the communication system that would reach every human vessel in the fleet. "This is Admiral Morrison to all ships. We knew this day would come. For 50,000 years, our people have prepared for this moment. The galaxy thinks we are extinct. They have forgotten what we were and what we became." His voice carried across the void to 11 other ships. On each bridge, human officers listened to their commander's words. "They are bringing 500 ships to fight us," Jake continued. "They think their numbers will be enough. They don't understand what we have learned in 50,000 years of growth. Lieutenant Sam Rodriguez sat in the cockpit of his fighter craft, listening to the admiral's speech. Sam was young, barely 25, but he had trained his whole life for combat. His ship was small, but packed with technology the aliens had never seen. "We will not fire the first shot," Jake said, "but we will defend ourselves. And when we do, the galaxy will learn that reports of humanity's death were greatly exaggerated." General Patricia Hayes, commander of the Military Planning Division, studied the tactical displays from her command ship. She was a stern woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. Patricia had spent decades preparing for this moment. "Admiral," she said over the communication channel, "the alien fleet is moving into attack formation. They'll be in weapons range in 6 hours." "Understood, General. All ships are to maintain defensive positions. We let them come to us." Back on Zirion Prime, the final preparations were being made. Vexstar stood in the command center, watching as his fleet moved toward the human ships. 500 of our finest vessels against 12 imposters, he said to his advisors. "This will be over quickly." Admiral Chun Wu, the military commander leading the Council fleet, checked his tactical displays. Chun was a careful strategist who had never lost a battle. His ships were well armed, and his crews were well trained. "All ships report ready for combat," Chun announced. "We will eliminate these imposters and restore order to the galaxy." But as the alien fleet moved closer to the human ships, something strange began to happen. The human vessels weren't running away. They weren't calling for help. They were just waiting. "Sir," one of Chun's officers reported, "the human ships are powering up some kind of energy systems. We're detecting readings we've never seen before." Chun frowned. "What kind of readings?" "Unknown, sir. Our computers can't classify the energy signatures. Whatever technology they're using, it's not in our databases." On Jake's ship, Dr. Lisa Parker monitored the approaching alien fleet. Her instruments showed her things that made her shake her head in amazement. "Admiral," she said, "their weapons are incredibly primitive. Their ships are held together with technology we abandoned 30,000 years ago. It's like they stopped innovating after we left." Jake nodded grimly. 30,000 years of peace made them soft. They forgot that the universe is a dangerous place. As the alien fleet closed the distance, Jake thought about his crew. These men and women represented the best of humanity. They were the children of survivors, the descendants of a species that had faced extinction and refused to die. "All ships," Jake commanded, "prepare for contact. Remember, we are not here to conquer. We are here to reveal the truth." The alien fleet came closer, their weapons charging for the attack. They had no idea what they were about to face. They thought they were dealing with primitive humans from ancient history. They were about to learn how wrong they were in the depths of space. 12 human ships waited calmly as 500 alien vessels approached. The galaxy was about to witness something it had never seen before. Humanity had returned, and they were nothing like the aliens remembered. Captain Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the human dreadnought Defiance and watched the alien fleet approach. 500 ships spread across space like a dark cloud, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. Alex was a calm man with steady hands and gray eyes that missed nothing. "Captain," said Engineer Beth Collins from her station, "all systems are ready. The new shield generators are online, and the weapons are charged." Beth was brilliant with machines, able to fix or build almost anything. She had spent 10 years designing the weapon systems that made human ships so powerful. Today, her work would be tested. "Thank you, Beth," Alex said quietly. "Remember, we're not here to destroy them. We're here to show them the truth." Admiral Chun Wu of the Galactic Council fleet felt confident as his massive armada moved into attack position. His 500 ships included the most powerful vessels the galaxy had ever built. Against 12 small human ships, victory seemed certain. "All ships, this is Admiral Chun," he announced to his fleet. "These impostors have refused to surrender. We will destroy them quickly and return to our normal duties." On Zarian Prime, Council Prime Vexstar watched the battle through long-range sensors. Millions of aliens throughout the galaxy were also watching, their screens showing the approaching fleets. "Citizens of the galaxy," Vexstar announced, "today we remove a threat to our peaceful way of life. These imposters will be eliminated, and order will be restored." But Dr. Nick Foster, a human psychologist studying alien behavior, was watching. Something else. From his position on one of the smaller human ships, he observed the alien communications and noticed something troubling. "Admiral Morrison," Nick said into his communicator, "the aliens are terrified. Their communications show panic levels I've never seen. They're not just fighting us, they're fighting their own fear." Jake's voice came back steady and calm. "Understood, Nick. Captain Turner, you may proceed." The Defiance moved forward, separating itself from the other human ships. It was a beautiful vessel, sleek and dark, with lines that seemed to flow like water. Compared to the bulky alien ships, it looked small and fragile. Admiral Chun laughed when he saw the single human ship approaching. One ship against 500? These humans are either very brave or very stupid. "Sir, his tactical." Officer reported, "The human ship is not taking evasive action. It's flying straight toward us." "Perfect," Chun said. "All ships, open fire. Destroy that vessel." 500 alien ships unleashed their weapons at once. Energy beams, missile volleys, and plasma bursts filled the space around the Defiance. With deadly light, the attack was massive enough to destroy an entire planet, but something impossible happened. The human ship flew through the attack, completely unharmed. A shimmering blue field surrounded it, and every weapon that touched the field simply disappeared. "What?" Chun stared at his displays in shock. "How is that possible?" On the Defiance, Beth Collins smiled as she watched her shield systems work perfectly. "Captain, their weapons can't even scratch our paint. The energy is being absorbed and converted to power our systems." Alex nodded. "Good. Now let's show them what we've learned." The Defiance began to glow with a soft white light. The light grew brighter and brighter until it was like a small star floating in space. "All alien ships," Alex announced on an open channel. "This is Captain Turner of the human vessel Defiance. You have attacked us without cause. We will now defend ourselves." Admiral Chun felt his heart race. "All ships, full power to weapons. Everything you have." The alien fleet fired again, this time with even more intensity. But the result was the same. The human ship absorbed every attack and continued to glow brighter dot than the Defiance fought back. A pulse of electromagnetic energy spread out from the human ship like ripples on a pond. It was invisible to the naked eye, but it hit every alien vessel at the same time. One by one, the alien ships went dark. Their engines stopped. Their weapons powered down. Their lights went out. In less than 30 seconds, 500 of the galaxy's most advanced warships became floating pieces of metal. "What did you do to us?" Admiral Chun demanded over the communication system, his voice shaking with fear. "We disabled your ships without harming your crews," Alex replied calmly. "No one is dead. No one is even injured. But your weapons and engines will not work for several hours." Throughout the galaxy, billions of aliens watched in stunned silence. The impossible had happened. One human ship had defeated an entire fleet without firing a single deadly shot. On Zarian Prime, Vexstar's blue skin had turned almost white with shock. "This cannot be happening." He whispered Dr. Lisa Parker was recording everything from her position on Admiral Morrison's ship. As a scientist, she understood better than anyone what they had just witnessed. "Admiral," she said, "the aliens. Technology is at least 50,000 years behind ours. What we just did would be like using a modern computer to fight someone with a stone axe." Jake felt no joy in the victory. "Lisa, begin broadcasting our message to the entire galaxy. It's time they learned the truth." Across known space, every communication device received the same signal. Jake Morrison's face appeared on screens in alien homes, government buildings, and military bases. "People of the galaxy," Jake began, "I am Admiral Jake Morrison of the Human Colonial Union. For 50,000 years, you have been told that humanity was extinct. You have been told that we destroyed ourselves through violence and stupidity. These were lies. The broadcast showed images of human worlds beyond the galactic rim. Beautiful cities, peaceful farms, and advanced laboratories filled the screens. Children played in parks, while scientists worked to unlock the secrets of the universe. We did not die," Jake continued. "We learned. We grew. We became better than we were. While you celebrated 30,000 years of peace, we spent 50,000 years preparing for the day we would return. The images changed to show human achievements. Faster-than-light travel that made alien ships look like toys. Medical technology that could cure any disease. Weapons that could reshape matter itself. We do not come as conquerors," Jake said. "We come as the children of Earth, returning home after a long journey. We offer friendship to any who will accept it. But we will not allow anyone to attack us or lie about our history again." Lieutenant Sam Rodriguez, still sitting in his fighter craft, watched the alien ships floating helplessly in space. "Captain Turner," he said over the communication channel, "some of the alien crews are trying to abandon ship. They think we're going to kill them." Alex felt sad hearing this. "Open a channel to all alien vessels. Tell them they are safe. We will help repair their ships so they can return home." The offer shocked the aliens even more than the battle had. These humans, who could have easily destroyed them, were offering to help. Admiral Chun sat in his darkened command center, trying to understand what had happened. His entire career had been built on the idea that the Council's military was invincible. Now he realized they were children playing with toys. "This is Admiral Chun to the human ship," he said quietly. "Why did you spare us?" Alex's voice came back gentle but firm. "Because killing you would serve no purpose. We are not the monsters your history books describe." General Patricia Hayes watched the aftermath from her command ship. As a military strategist, she understood the importance of what had just happened. "Admiral Morrison," she said, "this demonstration will change everything. Every government in the galaxy will be analyzing what we just did." Jake nodded. "That was the point, General. They needed to see that their assumptions about us were wrong." Dr. Nick Foster was studying the psychological impact of the battle on the alien crews. "Admiral, the aliens are experiencing what we might call paradigm shock. Their entire understanding of reality has been shattered. As the human ships began helping to repair the disabled alien vessels, word of the battle spread throughout the galaxy. Some aliens panicked, believing that humanity had returned to conquer them. Others were curious, wondering what other lies they had been told, but everyone understood one thing: the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity was back, and they were nothing like the stories said. On distant worlds, alien governments held emergency meetings. Military leaders studied the battle recordings, trying to understand technology they couldn't even comprehend. Scientists worked frantically to figure out how human shields had absorbed such massive attacks. The Defiance continued to glow softly as it helped rescue alien crew members from damaged ships. Captain Turner stood on his bridge, watching his crew worked to save the lives of beings who had just tried to kill them. "Captain," Beth said, "the alien ships will be able to fly again in a few hours. Should we escort them back to their territory?" Alex smiled. "Of course, it's the right thing to do." As the human and alien ships worked together in the aftermath of the battle, something new began to grow in the galaxy. For the first time in 50,000 years, the universe had seen what humanity had become, and it was just the beginning. President Laura Mitchell stood in the command center of Earth's capital city, looking out at the stars through massive windows. She was a strong woman with silver hair and eyes that had seen both war and peace. Today, she would address the entire galaxy for the first time in 50,000 years. "President Mitchell," said her aide, "the quantum broadcast system is ready. Every inhabited world in the galaxy will receive your message." Laura nodded and walked to the broadcasting platform. Behind her, holographic displays showed human colonies throughout the outer regions of space. Peaceful worlds where humanity had grown and thrived while the galaxy forgot they existed. "Citizens of the galaxy," Laura began, her voice carrying across countless star systems. "I am President Laura Mitchell, elected leader of the Human Colonial Union. Today, I speak to you not as a conqueror, but as a neighbor who has been away too long." On Zarian Prime, the emergency council session had been going for 3 days. Representatives from dozens of species argued and shouted while their military leaders tried to understand what had happened to Admiral Chon's fleet. Council Prime Vexstar paced back and forth, his forearms waving frantically. 500 ships defeated by one human vessel. How is this possible? War Master Crawl Thuck of the Draconians slammed his scaled fist on the table. It doesn't matter how they did it. What matters is that they're a threat to everything we've built. These humans must be destroyed before they can spread their lies further. Ambassador Chris Bennett, humanity's first diplomatic representative in 50,000 years, sat quietly in a corner of the chamber. He was a patient man with kind eyes and a gift for understanding other people, but right now he was a prisoner. "War Master Crawlthuk," Chris said calmly, "perhaps you should listen to what President Mitchell has to say before you decide to attack us again." Crawlthuk turned his angry eyes toward the human diplomat. "We know what humans are. The archives tell us everything. You are violent, destructive creatures who cannot be trusted." Chris shook his head sadly. "Your archives lie, War Master. And deep down, you know it." The broadcast from Earth continued as Laura shared humanity's true history. She showed images of the dark time 50,000 years ago when Earth nearly died. Wars had ravaged the planet, and pollution had poisoned the air and water. "Yes, we made terrible mistakes," Laura admitted. "We fought wars that served no purpose. We damaged our world through carelessness and greed. We nearly destroyed ourselves through our own stupidity." The alien representatives watched the images with satisfaction. This confirmed what their records had always said about humans. But then Laura continued, "But we learned from those mistakes. We changed. We grew. When our world could no longer support us all, we didn't fight over the remaining resources. We worked together to build ships and find new homes among the stars." The images changed to show the great exodus from Earth. Massive ships carrying millions of humans to new worlds. Not as conquerors, but as refugees seeking a second chance. "For 50,000 years, we have lived beyond your borders," Laura said. "We built new societies based on cooperation instead of competition. We developed technologies that could heal worlds instead of destroying them. We became the people we always had the potential to be." Dr. Maria Santos, a human specialist in alien psychology, watched the broadcast from her research station. She had spent years studying how different species handled major changes to their worldview. "Admiral Morrison," she said into her communicator, "the psychological impact of this revelation is enormous. Some species will adapt, but others may become violently defensive. Jake's voice came back through the speaker. What's your assessment, Maria? The Draconians and their allies are likely to form a military coalition, Maria replied. They can't, except that their entire understanding of human history is wrong. Admitting the truth would mean admitting they've been living a lie for 30,000 years. On the war world of Draken Prime, War Master Kralthuk was already putting together the largest military force in galactic history. His scaled fingers moved across holographic displays, calling up fleets from 8 different species. The humans think their technology makes them invincible, Kralthuk growled to his assembled commanders. But numbers can overcome any advantage. We will bring 50,000 ships against them. His lieutenant, a young Draconian named Vexthok, looked worried. War Master, our intelligence reports say human technology is far beyond ours. Perhaps we should try negotiation first. Kralthuk's eyes blazed with anger. Negotiation? With the species that nearly destroyed the entire galaxy 50,000 years ago? Never. But the younger Draconian wasn't convinced. War Master, what if the humans are telling the truth? What if our archives are wrong? The War Master's clawed hand struck his subordinate across the face. The archives are never wrong. Humans are a plague that must be eliminated before they can infect the rest of the galaxy. Meanwhile, Ambassador Chris Bennett remained a prisoner on Zarian Prime. His guards were nervous Zephyrians who jumped at every sound. They had seen what one human ship could do to an entire fleet. Ambassador, one guard said quietly, is it true? Are humans really peaceful now? Chris looked at the young alien with compassion. We try to be. We learned that violence only creates more violence, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. The guard shifted uncomfortably. The War Master is gathering fleets from across the galaxy. 50,000 ships. Will your people survive such an attack? Chris felt sad for these aliens who lived in such fear. I hope it doesn't come to that. But if it does, your War Master will learn what Admiral Chon learned. Human technology has advanced far beyond what your people understand. Director Paul Jackson, head of Human Intelligence Operations, was monitoring communications across the galaxy from his command ship. Paul was a thin man with sharp eyes who missed nothing important. Admiral Morrison, Paul reported, the coalition is definitely forming. 8 species have committed fleets to the attack. Total estimates are around 50,000 vessels. Jake felt the weight of command on his shoulders. How long until they're ready to move? 2 weeks, sir. They're staging at the Epsilon sector. It's a perfect ambush point if we take the direct route to Galactic Core. General Patricia Hayes studied the tactical situation from her war room. The coalition fleet was enormous, but she had seen human technology in action. Still, 50,000 ships was a lot of firepower. Admiral, Patricia said, I recommend we position 3 ships at Epsilon sector. The Defiance, the Resolution, and the Vengeance. That should be enough to handle whatever they bring. Jake almost smiled at the irony. 3 ships against 50,000. The aliens would think humanity was either completely insane or incredibly arrogant, not Dr. Lisa. Parker was analyzing the alien fleet compositions from her science vessel. Admiral, their ships are even more outdated than Admiral Chan's fleet was. Some of these vessels are museum pieces. They're using technology that's literally ancient. Any chance they've upgraded their weapons? Jake asked. Negative, sir. If anything, the coalition ships are less advanced than the Council fleet. They're relying entirely on numbers. As the days passed, the coalition fleet gathered at Epsilon sector. 50,000 ships from 8 different species created a metal cloud that stretched across multiple star systems. War Master Kralthuk stood on the bridge of his flagship, feeling confident for the first time since the humans had appeared. This time will be different, he announced to his fleet. The humans may have superior technology, but they cannot fight 50,000 ships with just 12 vessels. His intelligence officer looked up nervously. War Master, our scouts report only 3 human ships approaching Epsilon Sector. Krolthuk laughed, a sound like grinding metal. 3 ships? The humans are even more arrogant than I thought. We will crush them like insects. But Admiral Jake Morrison had learned something important from the first battle. The aliens didn't just underestimate human technology. They underestimated human wisdom. All ships, Jake commanded from his flagship, remember the objective. We're not here to destroy them. We're here to show them that their fear is pointless. Captain Alex Turner, aboard the Defiance, checked his ship's systems one final time. Admiral, all 3 ships report ready for combat. Jake nodded slowly. 50,000 alien ships waited ahead of them, filled with beings who thought humanity was a threat to the galaxy. Soon, they would learn the truth about what humans had really become. Proceed to Epsilon Sector, Jake ordered. Let's finish this. The 3 human ships moved forward into space, filled with their enemies, carrying the hopes of 2 species who were about to discover whether fear or understanding would shape the future of the galaxy. The Battle of Epsilon Sector lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, 50,000 alien ships floated dead in space, their crews alive, but their vessels completely powerless. The 3 human ships had not fired a single deadly shot. War Master. Krolfolk stared at his darkened bridge in complete shock. His massive fleet, the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history, had been defeated by 3 ships. Not destroyed, but simply turned off like old machines. How? He whispered to no one in particular. How is this possible? Captain Alex Turner's voice came through the communication system, calm and patient. War Master Krolthuk, your crews are safe. We have disabled your weapons and engines, but your life support systems remained fully functional. Krolthug's scaled hands shook with rage and fear. What are you? What have you become? We are what we always had the potential to be, Alex replied. We are humanity, learned and grown wise through 50,000 years of exile. Across the galaxy, the news of the second battle spread even faster than the first. 50,000. Ships defeated by 3. The impossible had become routine. Alien governments that had existed for tens of thousands of years began to collapse as their people demanded answers. On Zerion Prime, Consul Prime Vextar sat alone in his office, staring. At reports he could barely understand. His blue skin had lost all color, and his forearms hung limply at his sides. 30,000 years, he said to himself. 30,000 years of lies. A soft chime indicated someone was requesting entry. Come in, Vextar said wearily. Ambassador Zaralyn of the Ethereals entered, her silver skin glowing with concern. Prime Vextar, the Council is demanding your resignation. The people are rioting in the streets. They want to know why we lied to them about human history. Vextar looked up at her with tired eyes. We didn't lie, Zaralyn. We believed the thee. Lies ourselves. Our ancestors created this fiction to make themselves feel superior, and we never questioned it. What do we do now? She asked. Before Vextar could answer, another chime sounded. This time, the holographic display activated on its own, showing the face of President Laura Mitchell. Council Prime Vextar, Lavra said gently. I am requesting permission to address the Galactic Council, not as a conqueror, but as someone who wants to help heal the wounds that have been opened. Vextar was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Permission granted, President Mitchell, though I'm not sure how much authority I have left to grant anything. 3 days later, Lavra Mitchell stood before the Galactic Council for the first time in 50,000 years. The great chamber was filled to capacity, with representatives from hundreds of species watching in person or through holographic displays. Members of the Galactic Council, Lavra began, I stand before you not to claim dominance, but to offer partnership. Yes, humanity has returned with advanced technology. Yes, we could conquer your worlds if we chose to, but that is not who we are anymore. Director Paul Jackson watched from his position in the human delegation. As head of reconstruction efforts, Paul would be responsible for helping rebuild the galaxy's shattered political systems. It was a massive job, but one that excited him. For 50,000 years, Lavra continued, you have lived under governments that told you lies about human history. Some of your leaders did this from fear. Others did it to maintain power. But the result was the same. An entire galaxy built on a foundation of falsehood. Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. Some nodded in agreement, while others looked angry or confused. We propose a new beginning, Lavra said. A galactic government based on truth instead of convenient fiction. One where all species have a voice, including humanity. War Master Kral Thuk, who had been released from prison as a gesture of goodwill, stood up slowly. His scales had lost their shine, and his voice was barely a whisper. President Mitchell, he said, I led 50,000 ships against you because I believed you were monsters. I was wrong. I apologize for my actions. The chamber fell completely silent. A Draconian apologizing to anyone was almost unheard of. A Draconian apologizing to humans was impossible. Laura's voice was gentle when she replied. War Master, you acted according to the information you had. No apology is necessary. What matters now is what we build together. Dr. Rachel Green, humanity's leading scientist, stepped forward to address the council. She was a young woman with bright eyes and an enthusiasm for discovery that was infectious. Council members, Rachel said, humanity offers to share our technological advances with all species. Clean energy that could power your worlds for millions of years. Medical techniques that could eliminate disease and extend life. Transportation. Methods that could connect the most distant stars. The alien representatives began talking excitedly among themselves. The promises Rachel was making could transform their civilizations overnight. But, Rachel continued, this technology comes with a responsibility. It must be used for building, not destroying. For healing, not harming. We have learned the hard way that great power without wisdom leads only to destruction. Ambassador Chris Bennett, finally free after weeks of imprisonment, stood to address the crowd. His time as a prisoner had taught him much about alien psychology and fear. The galaxy stands at a crossroads, Chris said. You can choose to cling to the old, lies and the old ways. Or you can choose to join humanity in building something better. The choice is yours. Over the following months, the galaxy began to change in ways no one had imagined possible. Some alien governments fell as their people demanded leaders who would work with humanity. Others transformed themselves, embracing the new reality and the opportunities it offered. Admiral Jake Morrison found himself appointed as humanity's first military representative to the reformed Galactic Assembly. It was not a role he had wanted, but one he accepted out of duty. The irony isn't lost on me, Jake said to Dr. Lisa Parker as they walked through the rebuilt council chambers on Zirian Prime. We spent 50,000 years preparing for war, and now we're being asked to help keep the peace. Lisa smiled. Maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needs. Someone who understands both the cost of war and the value of peace. The new Galactic Assembly included representatives from over 300 species, including humanity. The old Council of 12 had been replaced by a democratic system where every voice could be heard. Council Prime Zarolin, elected as the first leader of the new assembly, worked closely with human advisors to create laws that would prevent the mistakes of the past from being repeated. Truth will be our foundation, she announced at the first session of the new government. No more lies. No more convenient fictions. We will face reality together, however difficult it might be. Dr. Rachel Green's promises became reality as human technology spread throughout the galaxy. Worlds that had struggled with energy shortages suddenly had unlimited power. Diseases that had plagued entire species for millennia were cured in months. Transportation networks that had taken years to cross could now be traversed in days. Perhaps the most important change was in how the different species saw each other. The revelation about human history had shaken everyone's assumptions. If they had been so wrong about humanity, what else had they been wrong about? Lieutenant Sam Rodriguez, now promoted to captain, led the first joint human-alien exploration mission into the unexplored regions beyond the galactic rim. His crew included beings from a dozen different species, all working together to discover what lay in the darkness between the stars. Captain Rodriguez, his ethereal science officer, reported, "We're detecting artificial structures in the next system. They appear to be very old." Sam felt excitement building in his chest. "Take us in for a closer look. Let's see what secrets the universe has been hiding from us." As his mixed crew worked together to investigate the ancient structures, Sam realized that this was what the future looked like. Not humans ruling over aliens, or aliens fearing humans, but all of them working side by side to unlock the mysteries of existence. General Patricia Hayes retired from military service to become humanities First Secretary of Galactic Education. Her job was to ensure that the true history of all species was taught in schools across the galaxy. "We will never again allow an entire people to be erased from history," she announced at the opening of the first integrated school on Zarian Prime. Human and alien children sat together in classrooms, learning about each other's cultures and achievements. War Master Krawlthuk, stripped of his military rank, but not his honor, became an unexpected advocate for peace. He traveled from world to world, telling his story of how fear and lies had nearly led him to commit genocide against an innocent people. "I was a fool," he would tell audiences of young Draconians. "I let ancient prejudices blind me to the truth. Do not make my mistakes. Judge others by their actions, not by stories told by the fearful." President Laura Mitchell stood once again in Earth's capital, looking out at the stars. But now, instead of seeing an empty void, she saw the lights of 1,000 friendly worlds. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. "Director Jackson," she said to her aide, "what's the latest report on the integration process?" Paul looked up from his datapad with a smile. "Excellent progress, President Mitchell. Over 200 worlds have requested human technical assistance. The food, she,